Change seems to be the only thing consistent in reality, but where does it come from, or what is change? Considering the fact that it's the only constant there is. But one might say that the only constant there is the mind, which changes from one thought to the next, and that the changes we perceive outside are nothing more than reflections of this mind. So that the mind has four different main frequencies, and those being alpha, beta, gamma, as well as theta. And this is transformed from a sleepy state to a meditative state to an active state, as well as a semi-active state, meaning as human beings, we don't remain in one mind state or state of mind for infinity. Or the simplest understanding of this is that we have dimensions beyond this world in order to achieve or perceive them. So as change, which is the only constant in life, can be persistent, there must be an infinite variety of worlds. And for us to access them, we have to change our frequency from one to the next, so as we may change from one world to the next. And so one might even say that we even have changing weather or changing weather patterns. But that again can be argued in the same manner as with dimensions. That what changes our weather is our consciousness. And that if we were so certain about ourselves, if we knew that we were one entity and we didn't separate amongst each other, and if we didn't have ignorance institutions such as schools, governments, etc., who are promoting their own agendas of profit rather than knowledge being the main currents in our lives, we also understand the fact that we live in a spherical universe, and our planet is also a sphere, and that spheres travel in cycles, and a cycle is 360 degrees flat, meaning that we don't need to have 365 days. We should be having 360 days flat, and those 360 days flat will give us an even weather patterns, meaning that we'll find ourselves in an eternal spring where there will be no winter or and as well as no excessive heat. One thing we need to understand about change as well as the planet is that we too have poles, such as the planet. The planet has a north pole as well as a south pole, in the same manner that we also have chakras. And these chakras have a navel chakra or a base chakra, which is located between our legs, as well as the crown chakra, which is on top of our heads. One representing the south pole, as the other representing the north pole. And because these chakras have lights or light auras, these light auras gravitate externally outside our bodies until they are collected by our dark bodies. And these dark bodies, because light needs darkness to travel, and thus being the reason why we have dark bodies in the first place, or why God is black. And so our melanin gathers this light energy and transfers it to our surroundings. And this also permeates or broadcasts our well-being. In other words, our auras broadcast our emotions, thoughts, as well as feelings. So the planet, which is also electromagnetic because it has a north pole and as well as a south pole, so much that animals use these electromagnetic fields of the planet to hibernate, to move towards the north pole and the south pole to avoid winter, gravitate towards summer. So what makes this all possible is change. And this change, like I said, is due to consciousness changing, because consciousness is the only thing that exists. And consciousness cannot be locked in one state. And so the whole purpose of this conversation is to say that as human beings, we're finally living in an age of information, whereby we can have no reason to remain ignorant, because everything that's known by one of us can be recorded in one form or the other, whether in books or in videos like this, and be spread across the globe. And ultimately, there will come a time when all this information, which is already in our DNA, will be broadcasted, or in other words, made available to the rest of us. And those who will take this type of information seriously will be rewarded by having kids who will be born with more active DNA strands. In other words, kids will be far more clever than us today and far more superior physically and otherwise. So the burden here will be if you choose not to be a part of this information. Because once those kids are born, they will know it and think of a different world, one which has nothing to do with our world. And because this will add to the electromagnetic fields of the earth, they will force the earth to change and thus reveal the world in which those kids will be expecting and familiar with. Because everything you know is due to experience, and experience presents itself from consciousness. And so the other aspect of this is that those who are not interested in these types of information, that is esoteric information, who are interested in materialism, such as politics, money, and all this junk, institutions which are made by ignorant men will find themselves having giving birth to even inferior kids. And today we only have two active teenage streams. That is the base level, below which there is no other level except for being what is classified as, what do we call those people who are not perfectly developed. In other words, what I'm trying to say here is that the future will present us with two different types of people. Those whose parents will have appreciated this and will be filled with love, and thus influence the electromagnetic fields of this planet as well as universe positively. And those will be born with inferior intelligence and thus feel intimidated by these kids and be the manifestation of evil due to their fears of inadequacy. And these fears of inadequacy will be due to their parents' lack of respect for esoteric knowledge, because like we were saying, change is the only thing that's consistent in life. So for us to expect that this world we live in, which is backward and evil, will remain there forever is stupid and ignorant. Because we know that change is the only thing we cannot prevent. No government has ever been able to prevent change, and money cannot buy time or anything else except for matter. And so the sole purpose of this film is to warn us concerning change, which we have no power over. And that ultimately, whether we like it or not, we are subject to these changes. And that the only thing is to get to know them, to accommodate them when they come, and be a part of them. Beginning with yourself, because change begins from within. Because nothing that happens on the outside is not a reflection of the life on the inside. Meaning that all the changes that we see are the reflection of the changes that happen inside our minds. But because we are so many, we do not see this as transparently or as clear as possible. And I thank you for your time again, and I hope you enjoy this video on change.